Hey Filofaxers, thanks for coming to watch another video today, and welcome back to the Newbie series. Today's video is going to be about color coding. So I went through the comments and I found that there were a lot of really awesome questions that I'm going to get to, but the one that I found the most and most frequent was color coding. So many of you wanted to know if I color coded and also how to color code. So I figured this would be a really good place to start. There are a lot of things that I could talk about in a linear fashion, such as how to find organizers and things like that. I have a couple videos on that already, so I figured I didn't want to go ahead and talk about that right now, and I may put that in a frequently asked video or something like that at the end of the series. So let's just talk about color coding. Yes, I do color code. I have been color coding for I cannot even remember the first time I started color coding. And I started doing this because of school. I realized that there was too many things to track, different classes and things like that. So I needed to color code. And so this applies to daily life as well. There are different ways of color coding, and I'll show you that in a second and how I color code. But for my daily life, for my actual home life, I actually don't color code. I have before, so I do know how to do it and how to do it effectively, but I do find that when I do color code, it kind of changes up the vibe of my planner. I also find that when I color code, that I feel really anxious about using that color every single time, and if I don't have it, then I don't plan it, or I just don't find the time to go into my planner. So that might be something to think about. If you have, for example, a 5-colored pen and you can easily just switch colors, that's going to be most effective for you. But if you have, for example, me, I like to use highlighters and things like that. I don't have them all with me when I'm jotting something down or an appointment, so it makes me a little bit anxious. That might not be the case for you. So the first step, I think, to a really great color coding system is to go ahead and divide out what you need to color code. So I'm going to be showing you my school planner as an example, but you can go and do this type of process with any part of your life. So, for example, if I have 4 different classes, I need to pick 4 different colors. Now, these are going to be colors that I can easily distinguish and I can easily tell apart. For me, I'm using my highlighters because I like the way that it looks inside of my planner. I went ahead and picked one color for each, and I've assigned that one color for each. Eventually, my mind is going to get used to that. But for now, I definitely have to have a key. So I put a key always at the end of my planner. So if I have a month at a glance, I put my key in the note section, or I'll put my key on a sticky note, and that way I can see my key at all times and I know what color it is. I put dots. So many of you were saying that when you color code and you have, for example, a color for each of your daughters or each of your sons or each of your appointments, different types of appointments, that you start getting really flustered because there's so many colors on the page. I do not highlight each of my different things, and I do not write in different color. What I do is I stick a dot on the notification, or I stick a dot there so that I know that that's for that, and then I write it in black. So that way I'm not having a colorful mess of a planner, and my eye doesn't go everywhere at once. If I'm looking for a certain color, I can just look for the dot instead of looking for the word being in that color. So for me, for school, I will use color coding both in the month and the weeks because it's easier for me to see and do that way. My week is not completely full of things. I go to school on certain days. I have assignments due on certain days, so I don't have a bunch of clutter there. But if I were doing this in my planner where I have to-dos and I have all kinds of things there, I would probably just stick to the dots as well. You'll see that I go ahead and underline things and I actually highlight my acronyms for the weekly, but that might get a little bit flustering as well, so you might not want to do that. Another thing I like to do is actually write or highlight in the color that you've chosen for specific really big dates. So if you have things that are due, if you have a really big appointment that you cannot forget, or a deadline that you cannot forget, or a doctor's appointment that's really important, you might want to either write it in that color if you're using a pen for color coding system, or you might want to highlight what you've written, so that way your eye goes straight to that and you know exactly what it's for. That's okay because that stands out. So you can go ahead and do it that way, and that'll be more effective for you as well. Another thing you can do, for example, if you have a really important thing that you want to remember, is go ahead and highlight around the box. If you highlight around the box, then also your brain will go there and it will tell you that that's important. So besides just color coding your monthly or your weekly or your appointments and your bills and things, you might want to color code your notes. So this is really interesting for me because I actually did this when I was using DIY fish inserts. So what I did, and what the inserts allowed you to do, is go ahead and pick a color for every thing that you had. So for example, if I was going to color code calls, and I wanted emails to be separate, and I wanted random notes to be separate, and I wanted YouTube video ideas to be separate, I would pick a color for those things, and then what I would do is I would just highlight the very end or tips of my notes, so that all I had to do is flip through and see, okay, this is for YouTube, oh, this is incoming calls, this is emails, and I can easily switch to that note page without having to go through each one. It was kind of like fanning the side of the pages and seeing what I needed for what, and it would come quickly. So you might want to color code your notes that way as well. So today I have a special guest to introduce to you, and his name is Benny. He's my Yorkie, and he is about 5 months, and he is just another part of my life that I don't think I've ever shared. I've told you that I got a puppy, but I wanted you to meet him today. So he's still a puppy and he's still a handful, but he's definitely very loving, and we're going to be taking him to training classes soon on the 17th of this month. So he's going to be learning a bunch of different tricks, and so today I wanted to introduce him to all of you and so that he can say hi. So thank you all for watching, and I hope this answered all of your color coding questions, and I will be addressing other questions in the upcoming videos of this series. So this is just, video 2 of the series, and I'll make a playlist of them. So if you have more questions, go ahead and leave them below. But also, to continue the giveaway, if you haven't already entered the giveaway in the first video, you can enter this video as well. In this video, I want you to go ahead and comment below when you came across and stumbled across the planner community, and your first impressions of the planner community. So when did you join, and what was your first impressions when you did? So leave that below to enter the giveaway for this series, and like I said, there'll be an entry in every video, and I hope to see you in my next video of the series, and I hope you have a great day. Happy planning!